on using a ball today, but I think I'm going to skip that now. So we have a few other things to get into. So 2 blocks, a blanket, a bolster, or a pillow, the usual stuff. And now I'm going to mute everybody. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Let's come onto our backs this morning. And as you make your way onto your back, take a moment to set yourself up in a really comfortable way on your back. Feet can be on the floor or your legs can be extended in more of a shavasana type position. Your choice. Take your arms into your cactus so that you have 90 degrees with your elbows. And just notice if your palms or if the backs of your hands come to the ground or if they don't. No judgment there. Just give yourself that information. That's kind of information about your rotator cuff. Then with this really open place for your chest, take a couple deep breaths, letting your belly, your ribs, your chest expand. Chest, ribs, belly release. A few deep breaths, starting to check in and tune in with whatever is showing up in your body today. And now engaging your hands here in your cactus, we're going to draw our elbows toward each other. So maybe our forearms connect, maybe our elbows connect, or maybe they stay a little bit apart from each other. Wherever that is for you, take a really big breath into that space in between your shoulder blades. Then inhale, open up. And exhale, elbows draw in to connect, palms connect if that's in your practice. Again, deep breath. Then inhale, open up, and this time you're going to keep your arms open, but we're going to move through our arms. Elbows stay bent. Lift your arms up overhead so your fingertips connect. And again, your arms may or may not stay on the ground here. Exhale, elbows back to that cactus place. Inhale, arms overhead so fingertips connect. And exhale, elbows back to cactus. One more time, inhale and exhale. And then release your arms down by your sides. Walk your feet out wider than your mat and take your knees side to side a few times, starting to wake up and warm up through the hips, through the low back, through the quads, whatever else is showing up for you through this movement. Then bringing your legs back into center, walk your feet into hip distance, bring your right knee into your chest, extend your left leg all the way out against the ground, and take a full deep breath. Then inhale, switch sides, and exhale, draw your left knee into your chest. Full breath. Inhale, switch sides, and exhale, knee in toward your chest. And now hold on to your right knee with your right hand. Left hand can always come to rest at your hip if you want, but open your right knee up to the right side. Your foot is flexed here. And then add a little bit of movement forward and back with your knee, toward the foot of your mat, toward the head of your mat. And now draw your knee across your body. Take a gentle spinal twist, drawing your knee over to the left side. And from this place, take your right hand to your low back, to maybe that place where your SI joint is. Sometimes that's hard to figure out here. That would be where your sacrum and your hip bone connect. Take a really big breath. Inhale back into center, give your knee a squeeze. And then release your right leg all the way out. Bring your left knee into your chest, squeeze it in, take a deep breath. And now open your left knee up to the left side. Your left hand gets to help you move your knee forward and back here, working through the hip socket a little bit. And then draw your left knee across your body to the right side, just gently. Not the deepest place you've ever gone, but just to start to feel that length through the outside edge of your legs. And again, you might start to feel a little bit of stretch through the SI joint or through other parts of your glute. Take a big, deep breath. And then gently come back into center now. Both knees drop into your chest and rock a little bit side to side. Then roll over to your side, whichever side feels best, and gently push yourself up to your seat. And now you're going to come to hands and knees, and then settle back, hips to heels. Take a child's pose. And if it's comfortable, you'll find a place where your head can rest down. That might be on the ground, it might be on a block or a pillow or bolster, but find that place where your forehead can connect. And take a couple big breaths here. Feel free to add a little bit of shift and movement through your hips, through your arms. Take a deep breath. Then inhale, gently rise up to hands and knees, and you're setting yourself up, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. And from this place, reach back your right leg, toes tucked under on the ground, and then start just a little pulsing here, forward and back, starting to get into the back of your leg. And then release your right knee back to the ground, stretch your left leg back behind you, toes are tucked under on the ground, and then begin those pulses. Then releasing your right knee back to the ground, stretch your, or left knee back to the ground, sorry. Right leg stretches back again, toes tucked under on the ground. Push until you feel a stretch through your calf muscle. Your heel is reaching back. And now you're going to just slightly turn your right hip upward. As you turn your right hip upward, think of reaching your right shoulder a little further away, so toward the front of your mat. Take a big deep breath. On your exhale, right knee comes back to the ground. Inhale, stretch back with your left leg and push. Then begin to lift your left hip. As you lift your left hip, you're moving your left shoulder forward, making more space through your left side. You might start to feel a little more space through your left ribs. Then on your exhale, both knees come back to the ground. Tuck your toes under. As you push with your hands, let your upper back expand. Rotate elbow pits forward and lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog pose. Then bend your right knee and press your left thigh back. And as you press your left thigh back, you can think about starting to tilt your left sitting bone up. Take a big deep breath and remind yourself that if this is really intense this morning, then you can come back to what we just did. Okay? Take one more big breath here, trying to tilt upward with your sitting bones. And then bend your left knee, send your right thigh back, and send your right sitting bone up. Full big deep breath. And then back into center, rise to tiptoe with both legs, tilt your sitting bones way up. And now walk your way forward, coming into forward fold at the front of your mat. Feel free to do that from hands and knees instead. Inhale, lengthen partway, hands above your knees, send your sitting bones up, extend your heart. Exhale, fold over your legs. Inhale and lengthen partway. And exhale and fold. One more time. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Hands to hips. Push your hips back. Start to lift your shoulders up and open. And inhale, rise. And as you find your way to feet inner hip distance apart and parallel, lift and spread your toes and then root down with your toes. Bring your hands together at your heart. Close your eyes. Take a deep, full breath. Good. Softly opening your eyes. You're going to find your balance onto your left foot. We're not going to take a super deep balancing pose, but you're welcome to hold on to a wall or a chair here. So we're going to balance onto our left foot, and our right toes are going to just touch the ground behind us. Step your foot back a little bit. And then center off your hips. Now from this place, push down with your hands on your hips and grow longer from hip to armpit. And then walk your hands onto your low back as you start to lift your chest, lift your heart up high. Take a deep breath. Little bit of a spinal extension here. Tone your belly, tone your low ribs, supporting your back body. Good. Inhale, rise back up, set your feet on the ground. Right foot balances. Left toes touch back behind you, centering off your hips. Again, push down with your hands on your hips to lift your chest. Find length through your sides. Walk your hands back a little further onto your back. As you hug your elbows back, you can feel your shoulder blades engage. Tone your low belly and your low ribs. Inhale, one more big breath to lift up with your heart. Exhale, foot back to the ground. Feet inner hip distance apart and parallel. Again, lift and spread your toes and push them down. Inhale, stretch up overhead. Exhale, bend knees to fold over your legs. Inhale and lengthen partway. And exhale to fold. Planting fingertips, step your right foot back into your lunge. And with your right foot back, send your left hip crease back in space, evening out your hips. Extend your ribs and your heart, and then bring your hands up to your hips to rise. Again, as you center off your hips, lift your ribs higher, tone, low belly, low ribs. Inhale, shoulders up and back, your head is back. Exhale, hands come down to the front of your mat. Bring your back knee down to the ground. Work your hands to the inside. You can always have blocks here for your hands. As your back knee works back, you get a little extra stretch through your back thigh. Work down toward one elbow, maybe two. Maybe your body is saying, oh, heck no, today. And if that's the case, stay more upright. That's okay, all right? So now, left hip, wrap it back. Push your right knee down so your right hip stays a little bit elevated. Take a really big breath, send your heart forward. Good. Come back to hands on the ground, settle back to hands and knees. And from hands and knees, rotate elbow pits forward and push. Tuck your toes under and lift up and back, downward facing dog pose. Take a deep, full breath. Then inhale, come forward to a plank. Use knees if you would like to. Rotate elbow pits forward and push. Then extend your front, extend your ribs. Exhale, lower all the way down onto your belly. Reach back with one leg at a time and then push. Tops of your feet down into the ground. Knees down into the ground. And then engage your low belly. Push your hands down, and as you exhale, lift your low ribs. Inhale, shoulders lift up and back, coming into as high a cobra as your body needs. Deep, full breath. Exhale. Exhale, push all the way back, hips to heels, take child's pose. Inhale, rise back to hands and knees, and again, set yourself up. Find that rotation of your arms, kind of push. Toes tuck, lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Take a big inhale and tilt sitting bones further up as you press. Exhale, walk your feet forward, coming into your forward fold at the front of your mat. Take an inhale and lengthen part way. Exhale, fold over your legs. Plant fingertips, you're stepping left foot back this time into your lunge. Bring your hands up to your hips to rise. Flip your right thumb around into your hip crease and give your hip crease a little encouragement back. Use your glute to help it stay there. And then push down with your hands. Big lift through your sides. Hands walk back. Expand and open through your chest. Exhale, low belly and low ribs draw in. Inhale, your chest lifts. Exhale, hands come down to the front of your mat. Back knee comes to the ground. You can always set something underneath it for support here. But work your back knee back as far as you need, and then work your hands to the inside. From this place, again, you can stay up high, or you can work down toward one elbow or two elbows. So lots of options there for you. If you start to lower down onto your elbows and your hips start to lift and shift back, and maybe rise up again so that you can stay a little more forward with your hips. Push down with your back knee to allow a little lift though, right? Instead of collapsing down into your hips. Big deep breath. And gently rise back to your hands. If you're down on your elbows, set your hands and shift all the way back, hips to heels. Take child's pose. One more deep breath in your child's pose. Then inhale, gently rise to your hands and your knees. You can stay right here on hands and knees if you want, or once you've rotated your elbow pits and started that press, lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Take a deep breath. And then walk your feet forward, coming into your forward fold at the front of your mat. Take an inhale and lengthen part way. Exhale, fold over your legs. Hands to hips. Press your hips back, start to lift up and open through your chest and rise. Good. So one more balance. This time, if you want to lift your back foot, you can. We'll come into our warrior 3 pose here. If you don't want to, you can stay upright with your toes touching behind you. And that's how we're going to start anyway. So find your balance onto your left foot. Right toes touch. Center with your hips. Push down onto your hips and lift. Lengthen your ribs. Now take your fingertips to your rib cage. And as you exhale, think of hugging your ribs in toward each other like they're knitting together. Inhale, keep that knit even as you lift your chest. As you exhale, you're welcome to lift your back thigh and start to lower your torso if that's in your practice. If you like to stay with your toes touching, that is okay. Left thumb into your hip crease. Give your hip crease a push back. Tone your low belly, tone your low ribs. Extend your chest. If you want, you can reach. Take a big deep breath. Inhale, rise all the way back up, hands to your hips, foot back to the ground. Now finding your balance onto your right foot. Left toes touch behind you. Again, center your hips. And then it's from your inner thigh that you're going to lift first. So find length through your spine. Then as you exhale, start to lift your inner thigh and hinge at your hips, finding that warrior three place, or stay upright with your toes touching, okay? Wherever that is, now take an exhale, draw low belly in, low ribs in. Inhale, extend your chest. Maybe stretch your arms. Full breath. Wrap your right hip back. One more deep breath. Inhale, rise back up. Set your foot down, arms back by your sides. Turn your palms open, close your eyes, deep breath. Inhale, stretch up overhead. Exhale, fold over your legs. Inhale and lengthen partway. Exhale and fold. Plant hands and you're stepping back all the way to hands and knees. And from hands and knees for just a moment, settle hips back to heels, take a child's pose, and add a little bit of shifting and moving here if you would like to. And now gently push yourself up to a seat. We're going to take one restorative pose before we come all the way onto our backs. So settle all the way down onto your hips, and then you can pick whatever you're using for a pillow or a bolster. You're going to sit that toward the front of your mat. I'm turning sideways so that you can see a little bit easier. But as you set it toward the front of your mat, you're going to set your left hip right up against it. Knees are bent back to begin with. And then turn your belly and your heart toward your bolster so that you are about to rest. But before you rest, we're going to get a little bit more into the outside edge of the left leg. So left leg, extend out to the right side. Then you can pick up with your hips a little bit to turn more if that feels good. And then you're going to start to rest over your bolster or over your pillow, whatever you happen to be using. If you want to, your right leg can extend back straight, or you can keep it bent. It feels better to me to have it bent. Your choice. Big breath. If you want, you can let your eyes close for your next few breaths. Now gently start to bend both knees, even as you push yourself back up to your seat. Now I'm going to turn myself again so that you can see this side a little bit easier. You can keep your bolster right where you are. You're going to turn yourself to face the right side, or the left side rather, so your right hip is right up against the bolster. Knees bend back to start with. This helps you be able to turn your torso a little bit sometimes. So now physically pick up and turn your hips, turn your belly, turn your heart toward your bolster. And then you can begin to extend your right leg. And I don't know if you just noticed that I did a little shifting, so I'm more on the outside edge of my hip. And then start to release over your bolster. You can pick your bolster up and shift it to wherever you need. You can always extend that left leg if it feels good, or keep it bent. Deep, full breath. And again, you're welcome to close your eyes if you want to for your next few breaths. And now you can start to bend both knees as you lift your torso up. And then you can bring both legs around. And we're going to lay all the way onto our backs. And just come back to one of the basic stretches we began with. So as you come back down onto your back, pull your knees up into your chest and rock a little side to side. And now set your footprints on the ground. You can take your knees together to touch here if you would like to. This time, we're going to take our eagle arms instead. So at the beginning, we drew our elbows to touch. Now we're going to cross at our elbows. So arms to cactus. And now cross left elbow over your right. And you might end up coming to wrap your forearms and take a hold of your palm. You might stay back to back here. Wherever that is for you, take a really big breath into that space in between your shoulder blades. Then unwind your arms and wrap right elbow over your left. And take a big deep breath. Then release your arms, bring them back to cactus if that's comfortable. Or you can take a T here. Separate your knees, walk your feet a little bit wider apart so maybe they're off of your mat, and drop your knees slowly side to side. Windshield wipers once again. And as you take these windshield wipers, as your knees go to the right, think about reaching from your left hip out through your thigh. Same thing as your knees come to the left, reach from your right hip out through your right thigh. One more time on each side. And then back into center. Walk your feet in. And now pull right knee up into your chest. Extend your left leg all the way out against the ground. And then open your right knee up to the right side. And aim your right foot up toward the ceiling. Then your right hand can come around to the back side of your thigh, outside of shin, or the outside of your foot for a little half happy baby pose here. From this place, give your pelvis a little tilt. So you're trying to tilt your sitting bones down, creating a little lumbar lift. Take a big breath and create a push and a pull. Push into your hand, pull back with your hand, so resist. And then gently bring your right knee into your chest. And set your right leg all the way out against the ground. Draw your left knee in, give it a squeeze. And then open your left knee up to the left side. Aim your left foot up to the ceiling so you have a bent knee here. You're reaching either around the back side of your thigh, outside of shin, or outside of your foot. Just remember that holding your foot isn't the goal. The goal is to find a safe yet still a little bit of a stretch through your hip. So from this place, tilt your pelvis so your sitting bones are moving down and create resistance. Pull down with your hand and push back with your leg. Good, then gently release your leg, draw it back into your chest, and bring both knees in. Rock side to side. And then footprints to the ground. If you have any low back tension, feel free to grab a pillow or a bolster for underneath your thighs. Feel free to come to a cactus or allow your arms to rest gently, palms up in whatever position feels the best. And as you let your eyes start to close, start to tune into your body, noticing the details of what's present, coming into your Shavasana. deeper breath. And gently add movement into fingers and into toes. And slowly bend your knees, roll to one side. As gently as possible, press yourself back up to your seat. And from your seat, connect palms together at heart center with your eyes closed. Tune into a full, deep breath. Have a peaceful and beautiful day. Namaste.